Hello and welcome to episode 42 of the Nourish and Strengthen podcast. Today I am answering a question for you guys that I have been asked many times, and that is, do I regret competing? So I've shared my story a lot about how during that last year of competing in bodybuilding competitions, I competed a bit too long. I stayed lean for a little bit too long, and I ended up with some hormone imbalances that contributed to me gaining 50 pounds in the following calendar year. Yes, 50 pounds in 52 weeks is what happened. So it would be easy to think that I never wish that I did it, right? And I definitely have mixed thoughts here. So that is what I want to dive into for you today in this quick episode. I think you're going to enjoy it, kind of getting a look into my head a little bit. So competing in and of itself, I do want to give this disclaimer, okay? Competing in and of itself did not cause me any harm, okay? I do not think that competing is quote unquote bad by any means. I just think there are different ways you can do it, and there are healthier ways you can do it. Well, actually, I'm going to go into that a little bit because I think I did it in probably the healthiest way possible. It is just never healthy to stay lean for that long. And that was what I did. I stayed lean for way too long. And so I want to share kind of my story and some thoughts that I have around that. Okay. So another preface to this, I never once in the, 9 years that I competed, I never once used any PEDs, which means performance enhancing drugs. I never used even the smallest amount of steroids, prescriptions, medications that are very common that people use. I did it all natural, which is actually a lot harder on your hormones to do it that way. So I never took calories lower than 1200. I never did hours and hours and hours of cardio a day. I was able to get very lean without being as aggressive as other competitors, many competitors and people do. It's very common to do 2+ hours of cardio a day, take calories down to 800 calories. And when you're doing that and you're taking performance enhancing drugs, the drugs can actually blunt the negative effects of being so aggressive. So I was never that aggressive. I never took drugs. Okay. But my body did not like being as lean as I was for as long as I was. And that's where the issues came in. So let me just give you a little recap on my competing journey. And then I'm going to go into the pros and cons and kind of end with my feelings about that. Okay. So my first show was in 2009. Yeah, forever ago. Competing got really popular in like 2014, 15, 16. I was an OG. I started like 5 years before that. It was in October. And I did my first bikini show. I've shared that story before. I can't remember what episode about why I decided to do that. And it was kind of actually a really funny story about my first show. I'm not going to go into that now. But so that was in 2009, fall of 2009. In 2010, I competed still in the bikini division. I competed locally 3 times. I think it was like throughout the year, never really giving my body some time off or a break because it was like, I don't know, like August, June, September, April, June, September, something like that. And then in 2011, I went to nationals in bikini. That was in Las Vegas, USA's, if you know, went to that. Did not do well at all. I was doing well in the local shows, winning or placing top 3. Nationals got crushed. Okay. So I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Not going to do this anymore. But then 2013, it had been a couple years and I was just kind of getting the bug to do something competitive and just do something with my fitness goals. I'm not really a runner. But I'm kind of competitive. And so I wanted some sort of competitive outlet. And so that is what competing was for me. So I decided to compete locally in the figure division. Okay. So these divisions have changed a lot over time. If you know figure now, it is not at all what it was back in 2013. Okay. So I decided to compete locally in figure 2013. Did well. In 2014, I decided to do some out-of-state shows. And then I did some national shows as well. So I did a show in California, and then I went to a couple national shows in figure. And I placed, I think it was like it was 15, but it was maybe like 11th, 13th, something like that. Okay. And then in 2015, I went to nationals in figure again, and same kind of thing, placing like between 10th and 15th. So Not great, right? But it's okay. It's fine. It is what it is. And then I was like, I am done with this. Not going to do this anymore. But of course, things change, time passes. In 2018, I kind of got the bug again, and divisions had changed. I was not doing figure anymore. Figure was really changing and getting a lot more muscular, just really, really, really big. Big meaning like, very, very muscular, and a place that I wouldn't have been able to do naturally, and I didn't want to take any drugs to do it. So was not going to do figure. I was going to do bikini again. And I did a couple local shows, placed really well. I won both of them, and then went on to do some national shows in bikini, placing as high as second. So that's kind of how my competition journey went. But it was that last year that I just kept competing because I placed second. And then I was like, I want to do this one more time to see if I can possibly win. And that next national show was 6 weeks later. And it was just too long for me to stay as lean as I was. So that's kind of just a little background of, how many shows I've done. I actually don't even know. It's like, I don't know, it's 15 plus, something like that, quite a few. So positives. Do I regret this? There are so many positives that came to me from competing. First one is kind of a natural one, obvious one. That would be discipline. And I clearly remember the first time going on a trip while I was on prep. And it wasn't a big trip. I think it was like Bear Lake in Idaho or something. It was just a family trip to a cabin, super easy to stay on track. But I brought all my food and I stayed completely 100% on track with my prep. No raspberry shakes. If you know Bear Lake, that's a thing there. No burgers, nothing like that. Bring my own food, eat my own food. And it actually felt pretty amazing. I'm not saying that's what you have to do on vacation. I personally don't do that anymore on vacation either. But just seeing that you have that in you, seeing that you can do that if you want to bad enough, you can stay on track no matter what the circumstances are, is actually really, really empowering. So the discipline that came from competing, I'm not sure I could have ever learned about myself in any other way, really. Also the friendships. I have made so many amazing friendships that I still have today. Moxie coach Janaea is a friend that I met actually in 2018. We were at a competition together, and we were actually just getting our makeup done at the same time by the same person. And we just totally hit it off, and we became friends, and we have stayed friends. And now she works for me, and she is amazing. So there are lots of relationships and friendships that I truly don't think I would have made or strengthened to the level they are in any other way. Also, just doing something so hard. This is kind of similar to the discipline one, but it is so empowering knowing that you can do something so incredibly hard. People who haven't competed might not understand how hard this is when you're dealing with, the hunger, the low energy, the not wanting to go to the gym, not wanting to do all the things, but you have to do them anyway. Guys, you go to the gym and you're lifting you got to do oftentimes you're doing, what's it called? Body work, like where you're doing, rolling on the ball, mobility work, that kind of thing. Then you're lifting for like an hour plus. You've got your cardio, you've got your posing. And then that's just an everyday gym session. Like it is so common to go to the gym for 3 hours a day when you're competing. It is pretty insane. And so it takes a whole nother level of dedication, and doing something that hard, dedicating yourself for something that hard for months and months and months at a time. It's exhausting, but it's actually really empowering as well to know that you can do it. Okay. And then also, it's just really fun. I mean, it was really fun at the time. At the time, it was fun until it wasn't fun. And then it was not fun anymore. But the attention that you get is fun. I mean, it sounds so selfish, and it is. It is selfish. It is self-absorbed. But the attention you get, the comments, oh, are you competing? When's your next show? You look great. Like, it feels good. It's human nature. The compliments and the attention you get is fun, does feel good. Okay. Now let's go into the negatives, because there were a few of those, and they were big. So kind of on that same idea of the attention you're getting, it is selfish. It is. I don't know that I've ever met a competitor that won't agree with that, because you are spending so much time on something that is just yours. Now, I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing in moderation. I do think that as women, we need something that is just ours. But competing, at least for me and a lot of people I know, is all encompassing. It is so consuming of your thoughts, your time, your energy, that I definitely found myself uncomfortably focused on myself. Now, again, just to say, I do not think being focused on yourself is a bad thing by any means at all. But I remember I competed through the summer, and I remember there were times when, we wanted to have a fire in the backyard. We wanted to have s'mores, and I couldn't have the s'mores, of course, which is fine. But I remember just sitting there and just feeling totally zoned out and like numb to the world because your hormones are downregulated. You are tired. You are low energy. You just don't feel great. Okay. When your body is that lean. I remember laying on the couch and just wanting to go to bed because I wanted the next day to come where I could have breakfast again. Like it was so all encompassing and exhausting. Okay. And so I was not present with my family. Like I said, those two examples that I just shared, and it negatively affected my health, right? I ended up with high cortisol, with low estrogen, low progesterone. I was totally low in my sex hormones, low thyroid, and those things made it so I gained a lot of weight afterwards. And it took me a long time to get my body just working again and responding. And that is why I gained that 50 pounds in that year afterwards. I've had people ask me, well, were you tracking your food? Were you working out? Yes. I was doing all the things. And I had no idea why my body was continuing to gain weight. Okay. So knowing those things, people might say, well, of course, you'd probably regret it. Like, why did you even get into all of this? And I do see a lot of those negatives, though, as learning experiences, right? Because I gained that weight, because I had the hormone imbalances, I was able to deep dive into hormones, gut health, metabolism, and learn everything that I could possibly learn to help myself. But then also now we have helped so many women who are going through the same thing. Maybe they aren't coming off as post competitors, but maybe they're coming off a very stressful time of life, a death in the family, a divorce. Maybe it's just years and years of under eating. And they're like, oh, that's not working for me anymore. Now I'm gaining weight. I don't know why. We have the tools to help you because I went through it. A couple of my coaches have gone through it as well. And we learned and we applied those things to our clients, and we have created protocols that I know we never would have figured out had I not gone through that myself. Okay. And I also just feel like I can relate so much better to our clients and just to you guys because I know the whole gamut of emotions that you feel when you're gaining weight and you have no idea why. You feel hopeless. You feel discouraged. I remember crying like big old alligator tears on my bed because I was just gaining weight every single week and I had no idea when it would stop or if it would stop, right? And not to mention, it came on relatively quickly. I mean, a year is a long time, but sure, I went from the leanest I had absolutely ever been to the heaviest of my life outside of being pregnant. And that imposter syndrome of still having to show up online as a trainer and a coach during all that as I was gaining weight every single week. Gosh, it was hard, you guys. It was so hard. So I know how it feels. Like the benefit, the lesson is I know how it feels for your jeans not to button, to sit on the floor and just feel like, oh my gosh, these pants don't fit when they fit just a few months ago. I know how it feels to go into the gym and just not like what you see in the mirror or not be able to do the things that you could do just recently, right? So do I regret it? Do I regret it? Is the question of the hour, right? And I don't, guys. I don't really believe in regrets. I don't really believe in failure. I don't really believe in regrets. I believe that everything either leaves you with a win or leaves you with a lesson, right? And I took so many lessons and friendships and relationships and experiences away from competing that I truly believe could never have occurred in my life in any other way. So no, I don't regret it. I don't. And if you feel like you have regrets or perceived failures in your life, I really encourage you to do this little exercise and list out all of the lessons you have learned from that experience. And then I want you to see if you still regret it. Okay. So that is my thoughts for you guys today. That's my kind of experience with competing. I do get that question a lot. So I wanted to just kind of record that for you. I hope you enjoyed this. If you feel like you guys, you are in a place where you're gaining weight, you're struggling, you're discouraged, you're hopeless, and you don't know what to do, please reach out to me on social, or you can click the link in the show notes here and apply to book a call with us. We would love to help you. And even if you can't do coaching, I'd love to just give you some advice, give you maybe some next steps. We are here for you. We'd love to help. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.